Hi guys, Chris here from Tech Tablets. Hope you're having a good day. This tablet here right in front of me is the Onda v919 3G Core M. So as the name suggests, it's powered by Core M. It also has 4GB of RAM, 64GB SSD, and the form factor of an iPad Air. You can see the box looks very familiar to the iPad Air. It looks almost identical, very similar the way they've set up the tablet there in the photo. So it's a 9:7, 4:3 ratio tablet. It's Onda on the side there, nothing on the side of the box here, just some barcodes and labels there for scanning whatnot. And we do have on the back the specs of the tablet, just a quick rundown here that I'll just quickly go over. So it's got that screen there that we have the 2048 by 1536 resolution. Now that has a PPI of 264. That's the pixel density. So it's a very sharp looking screen. You know, the screen that the iPad Air has. So if you want to see what the screen is like, just need to go down to the nearest Apple store and you can have a look at it. So it's got the Core M 5Y10C that can boost up to 2 GHz, and the base speed, clock speed, is 800 MHz per core. And it has Intel graphics 5300, 4 gigabytes of double data rate 3 RAM, and that 64GB SSD. The rest of it's standard. So we've got wireless in. Unfortunately, it's only 2.4 GHz, the bandwidth. This is not dual band. We have Bluetooth 4, and there is a 3G modem within the tablet and a SIM card slot for that. The rest of that is just, well, it states here Windows 8.1, but this unit will be running Windows 10 and can be flashed over to a dual boot device. Alright, so let's have a look inside the box here of what we get. So here's the tablet. Just a light bit of protection there on it. They packed it in, and we have a protective cover on the back so it doesn't get scratched. So the back of the tablet is metal. It's a full unibody housing here, and you can see the Onda logo and just a couple of specs down here. Serial number, it does say 64GB, if you can see that on the camera. And the top part here is plastic. Now we have a rear facing 5-megapixel autofocus camera there. They tend to take pretty average photos, so they're not amazing for that. So on the side, on the right hand side, is the power on. Now just looking at those buttons, they do seem to be quite into the case there. They sit right in there and you can see them moving around. So they're just plastic. It's not entirely super high quality or anything like that, but it does the job. So volume up and down rocker, and if I move around to the bottom of the tablet here, so we have a 3.5mm stereo output, micro USB 2. Unfortunately, I really wish this was micro USB 3. I mean, you've got that full SSD drive in there that can read up to 500 megabits per second, sorry. And on the bottom here, this is a speaker grill, only a mono speaker. So that's a real shame there is no USB 3. I would really have liked to have seen that to take advantage. I mean, the Core M supports that. Turn around and have a look at the front of the tablet here. Now we have a front-facing 2-megapixel webcam here in the middle, so a very similar setup to the iPad Air and iPad Air 2. And the bottom here we have a home button. Now there should be a status LED sitting behind this that will glow red, I think, when it's charging, and green when it's fully charged. It's the same kind of setup that the first v919 model had. That was a dual boot, it had a Bell Trail CPU in it. So the overall, the build quality seems pretty solid. I'm not hearing any creaking or flexing. It seems to be well put together there. Now I'll just have a look at the thickness of the tablet with my trusty little gauge here. It seems to be a little bit thicker than some of the other tablets using a retina screen. Maybe not by much. So it's coming in there at just over 9, sorry, I'll get that on the camera, you can see that, 9mm. So thickness wise, that's not actually too bad at all there. Okay, so what else is in the box here? Should definitely have a charger. Okay, so they've given us a micro USB to normal sized USB adapter, so your OTG adapters. And it's not white for some reason to match the tablet. There's a two-prong US style power cable with the figure 8 style plug on there. That's quite a common plug there. So it'll be easy to source one that fits for the UK or Europe if you're buying from those countries. Now here's the power adapter. So we can see that it is 12 volt, 3 amps. Made in China, of course, just like the tablet. And it seems to have a status LED right there on it. And here is the plug, which I think is a 2.5mm plug in diameter there. Alright, so let's see how much the tablet weighs. So 625 grams there. That is a little bit heavier than for example, the Teclast X98 Air 3G, which is normally about 500 grams. And this is probably to do with the heatsink that the Core M is going to have on it, because it's quite a powerful chip for a tablet, and it's passively cooled, so it's going to need quite a large heatsink on it to get rid of some of that heat, and that's probably what's weighing it down a little bit there. Now, I almost forgot, this is the charging port right here, and you do have a micro HDMI out to output video there. Now this here, just like the original model, the v919 with the bay trail, is removable. Wow. And it snaps off just like that. I'm not particularly fond of these because often if you're removing and putting them back on, a little plastic flap like this that clips in, and these tabs can tend to break after a while, and it doesn't really sit that flush. This is what happened to the first model I had, and it's using a very similar design here. So here we have a micro SD card slot and the micro SIM card slot here for 3G. Now just to see how that clips in, I have a Samsung 64GB micro SD card here, and see how that clips in. Okay, so it just is the click-in style there. Click in and out. And I assume that the SIM card would be the same. This is my Vodafone SIM. And it's a little tricky to get in there actually. Doesn't quite want to get in. There we go. Same thing, same deal. Clips in as well. So that is hidden away there. And that's not too much of a problem if you're not going to be removing those cards there. If you're going to be removing them all the time and having to pull this on and off, then that's a bit of a problem. At least now that does not actually include the aerial. Now the earlier model, they actually had the aerial on here for the wireless and 3G, I think it was. And there was a couple of little tabs there that would connect it. And that could be a bit of a problem after a while, but at least it's not the same design that they used before. They have fixed that and corrected that, so that is good to see. The area will no doubt be just behind this here, is where we'll have the wireless antenna. Now I bought this tablet here from banggood.com for $389 as the current price at the time of the video. And what I didn't know was that it's actually in Chinese only. So it's that horrible Windows 10 single language OS. And that means you can't install any language packs. It's a real pain. And apparently there's a workaround, but you have to do like a bit of a hack to try and get it to work. I've never got it to work. I've never got any language packs to install on this version of OS before. They had it the same with Windows 8.1, and it's just horrible. I mean, it shouldn't even exist, Microsoft. Why would you release just a single language version? Okay, it's meant for the Chinese domestic market here, but they do actually end up exporting this. Well, maybe they're not meant to. Anyway, I had to go and reinstall, back up the drivers, and then install Windows 10 myself from a USB stick. And I've got it all set up now in English here. I've just run a couple of tests, a couple of basic tests here, just to see what the speed is of the 64GB drive, and you can see there that those read rates and the write rates, also the random 4Ks, they are good. Good speeds, not bad at all. And I also ran Geekbench. Just to have a look here. And these are the scores here. So the single core score there is around about just double that actually of the Atom Bay Trails, the common Z3736F. It's double the speed here, and the multi-core score of almost 4,000 is also a good score as well. That's a standard score for the Core M 5Y10C. Okay, so that's just a quick unboxing here and just those two benchmarks. If you are interested in this particular model, I do have a link in the description that will give you more information on it, and also a link to our forum. Do subscribe to the channel if you're interested to see more up and coming videos, because I will have a couple of tests. We do some more benchmarks, a bit of gaming, and I will also install the dual boot BIOS, flash the Android 5 ROM, and try and set that up as a dual boot machine, which is going to be interesting because this is going to be a native Android. It's not emulated, so the dual boot setup is going to be a proper Android 5 ROM, so it should run really well with that full SSD in the Core M. Should be quite a powerful Android device there if you are interested in dual boot, so keep an eye out on that in the playlist. And just before I go, have a look at the screen here. Increase the brightness a little bit. There's the toggle. Oh, that annoying tablet mode. I'm not actually in desktop mode. There we go, 100% brightness there. And it is not a fully laminated display. There is a slight gap. Hopefully you can see right about there. There's a gap of approximately 1mm between the actual touch digitizer glass and then the IPS retina panel below. So there's a bit of a gap there. Okay, so that is the video there, just the hands-on. And as I said, keep an eye out for the playlist of this model if you're interested in seeing more videos on it, because it will have gaming, more benchmarks, because that was just the beginning there, and various other tests that I'll run on the tablet and just see how everything works and how hot it gets as well, see what the temperatures get, if there's any thermal throttling or serious throttling problems at all there. Thank you for watching the video, and hopefully I'll see you in those other videos. Bye for now.